That's right, boys. Mondo cool.
Gungrave Overdose is an action game for the PlayStation 2. Man, what an action game it is. You play as the character, Beyond the Grave, who carries a coffin on his back that doesn't look big enough to be used as a coffin, especially not for himself. And he can use that as a shield or a melee weapon. And then he's got 2 pistols, and you run around and you shoot things. I really enjoyed the destructible environments in this game and just smashing everything with the maelstrom of bullets. There are some really sweet moves and techniques to be picked up along the way. As you play through the game, you unlock more abilities and moves. You have a regenerating shield, which is nice. The action's intense, and it's not like most games with regenerating shields where you just duck down for a second and you're fine. The recharge rate, you have to not be firing for a certain amount of time before your shields regenerate. And sometimes, you'll find yourself in situations where you just don't have the opportunity for the shields to regenerate, so it's not a game-breaking issue. It doesn't make the game too easy. Partway through the game, you will unlock other characters that you can play as, and I discovered this the not-so-fun way. This is a downloadable PS2 title, and it has a virtual memory card tied to it that you can't access. I played about halfway through the game and then I decided to try one of the other characters and then I saved over it. So you can only have like one save slot. And I do have a backwards compatible PS3, so I was hoping that I could just juggle virtual memory cards, but that wasn't an option either, and that was kind of sucky. So my advice to you is play through as Beyond the Grave and then play through as the other 2 characters. Now the other 2 characters play a little bit differently. You have Rocket Billy Red Cadillac, which is the most amazing name for a character I've ever heard. He runs around shredding on a guitar, and while he wails on that thing, it shoots lightning or some form of energy. And, just wow. Wow. I tried to pay attention to the story in this game, but I don't know, something about a drug, and they bring this Beyond the Grave dude back to life, and then you got Juji, who is a guy with swords and guns, and he's pretty cool too, and he's blind, but he can smell where bullets are and dodge them or something. I don't know. I was not in this game for the plot at all, but the action and the gameplay is super intense. The bosses and the character design are just really over the top and quirky. This is a really enjoyable game. I highly recommend it to anyone. This is also my first experience with a downloadable PS2 game off of the PSN. As I mentioned, I do have a backwards compatible PS3 and I still have my PS2 Slim hooked up. And the downloadable PS2 title looked way smoother than any of the disc-based PS2 games being played on the PS3. I imagine that when it was ported to the PSN that it was patched to look a little bit nicer on the PS3, so I was very pleased with that. It took me a minute to get used to the camera controls. Basically, it's just a chase camera. The right analog stick does allow you to move the camera, but just don't screw with that. I tried to keep the action on screen with the right analog stick, and that just is not happening. So once you stop moving, the camera centers and you'll be fine. That's the only thing that really gave me an issue when I first picked it up. Made it feel just a touch dated, but it's really not a problem. The graphical style is not quite cel-shaded, but I don't know. I like the way the game looks. The cutscenes do look nice when they're the full animated cutscenes, but like I said, I just could not follow the plot at all. All I know is Beyond the Grave is a badass, and he shoots things, and it's a lot of fun. I would recommend this game to anyone that enjoys action games and third-person shooters. I had a really good time.